Let's take a look at safe lifting practices. Throughout the merchandising day, there is often lifting that will happen. Many times the weights are not very large, but there is the chance of lots of lifting all throughout the day. The first thing we want to do is to keep the product as close to your torso as possible. You'll see in the picture on the left that the merchandiser is keeping the product as close to her body as she can while she's moving with the product. The picture in the center shows the opposite. Keeping products away from our body where we have to reach increases strain. It increases strain on our back, it increases strain on our arms, and it increases strain on our shoulders. And in the end, makes for a very uncomfortable work day. The last picture on the right shows what we should be doing when we are lifting or placing things that are down low. It's important to bend our knees, keep our back straight, and stay as close to the product as possible. Again, if we can prevent ourselves from reaching, we often prevent the chance of strain. While merchandising product, it may be necessary to move other products that are in front of our merchandising displays. Moving and later replacing these other products allows us to get as close to our work area as possible. These pictures demonstrate where products placed in front of our displays make it difficult to reach the work area. We want to move these so we can be as close to our work area as possible. When faced with these situations, we can proactively move product out of our way so we can safely access the work area. This starts by making sure we lift properly. Here are 3 things to keep in mind while we are lifting and moving product. Number 1, we need to get low. Number 2, we need to keep our back straight. And number 3, we need to lift with our legs. If we don't get low and lift with our legs, we actually lift with our back, and this leads to injury. Once we pick up the product that we need to move, then we want to move and act like we do with our own product. One thing to keep in mind is that we want to keep the product as close to our torso as possible. Another thing to keep in mind is we want to let our toes follow our nose. Our head and our toes should be pointed the same direction to avoid twisting and potential back injury. Flower racks are one of the tools that you will most often work with while merchandising. There's a few things to keep in mind while we are working with racks. Keep in mind that racks move, they are on wheels. Keep in mind that racks are fairly heavy. They can weigh over a few hundred pounds when they are filled with product. Here's a few simple things to keep in mind about racks. When you are moving racks, it is preferred that we push one rack at a time. When we are pushing racks, it's important to face the rack and watch your feet, just like we see in the picture on the left. Also, when we are pushing racks, we want to make sure that we line ourselves up on the side of the rack that has the moving wheels, the wheels that turn. It's important, even if you're pulling a rack, to make sure that those turning wheels are closest to you. This will allow you to have control. There are times when you will need to pull racks. Again, it's preferred if we are pushing racks, but if we're going to pull racks, take a look at the center picture. It's very important that as we pull a rack, that we are aware of where our feet and where our heels are. Many times a rack will hit the back of our leg, our heels, our toes, and that can cause injuries. Once we have the racks where we want them to be, take a look at the picture on the right. We want to place a rack as close to our work area as possible. This minimizes the amount of steps and twisting that we need to do while we are loading or unloading a rack. Please be careful as you work with racks, and as you start your work, please become very familiar with ways to push and pull racks where you are aware of how they will turn and how they interact with you.